let's jump right into this. This is something that I talked about 5 years ago. I'm not in a position to give advice for you guys, but I do want to let all of you know about the way I handle videotaping. By that, I mean I just mean people videotaping on school property. Now, the police, that's a different show. But when people are filming on school property, when you film on school property for their YouTube, then that's making them look bad. I would advise you, if you're going to create a YouTube channel while you're in school, do not film on school property. Because if they find out about your channel, they'll just say, oh, you can't show this, can't show that, blah, 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 can't show any school property, can't film students, ask them questions, yada, yada. That kind of, what that will do to the students is basically how the people are going to know like what's going on. Because the school has, every school has their own YouTube channel. Every school has one. Every school district in the state, Texas, Missouri, Kentucky, wherever, every district in every county has their own YouTube channel. And it's up to them to help out the parents. Now, going forward to last year, 5 years ago, there was this guy. His name is C.J. Gonzalez, who graduated school here in Flower Bluff. And right now he has over 540 subscribers, but I'm not throwing him under the bus because this is what he does. I mean, for his YouTube channel, I mean, there were times to where he filmed, there was one when he filmed at prom, one he filmed on school property. Well, before that, he put up posters and last day of school, graduation, and that's really what I did. But I really want to describe the this one right here because like all this stuff, it's like all he wants to do is just he put up posters. And they caught him, and he was filming students, which in my opinion goes against everything, the code of conduct. And they told him that take down the posters, and filmed in the bathroom, and after that, he got detention, and so what I have to say to CJ is, don't do that ever again. If you decide to get married and have kids, you need to teach them it's okay to film on school property. Period. Jack got caught, now Tracy got caught, because they figured out his YouTube channel. Their YouTube channels. How? The internet. Dom Tracy I'm going to focus on because they've been harassing him. All his teachers have been harassing him because of his channel, and they don't like him because of what he's done. And that goes against every violation of the code of conduct in every school district, and especially from there. That's a direct violation of the code of conduct. So, every school district has their own code of conduct, they have their own rules and policies provided by the board, and they put them all in the book. And the principal has to enforce the rules, teacher has to enforce them, and what you film and don't film. And every principal has their, and they find out about this, then they can look them up and say, why would you film? Like, if you can film outside school property, like outside school, it's like, okay, cameras are 24 hours, and it's like, film outside school property, not on school property or outside the property. If that happened, then the superintendent would come in, have to have a meeting, all that kind of stuff. This is why that I don't encourage people to make their own YouTube channel while they're in school, because they're basically going to start filming on school property, posting on YouTube, and yet no consent. Making money of a not-profit organization because of they want to make the school look bad. That's just unacceptable behavior. And if it happens again, then screw it. I don't know. Probably the schools have to schools have to get tougher, and just simply say, look, we need to make sure that we gotta make sure. We need to make sure that we don't think in film on school property and have kids who make their own YouTube channels. Don't we film on school property, otherwise this could happen to you, and this could happen to any other student. Detention would happen. That's my advice. Right. Littering. It's against the law in the state of Texas. So why would school districts allow students to litter when they... Why would school districts allow their students to litter when they just pick them up themselves doing the trash can? That's next. We've been telling our kids all the time, do not litter. And yet, every time I walk on the school, every time I look around the school property, whatever, tennis courts, there's always people littering masks. The biggest issue ever is the masks. And I've talked about this last season during the pandemic, where this guy did a challenge where he picked up all the masks on the ground that would just basically end end what I call mask littering. And now this is what I call mask on the grounds, meaning masks on school grounds. And nobody has even bothered to pick them up. And every one of you, and if you're a student there, you may be sitting there saying, I don't care if I just throw this on the ground. I'm going to leave that thing for the janitor to come pick up. Listen, just because you have janitors out there doesn't give you the right to just leave your trash there and then expect the janitor to pick it up when they have lives. They clean up the cafeteria, they mop the floors, they clean the windows, pick up paper around the toilet, whatever. They make a lot more money than you. And if you think, you may think throwing it around and say, okay, I'll leave that for the maintenance to go around here. Janitors don't pick up that kind of stuff. The mask belongs to you, you pick it up, throw it in the trash. And how simple is that for you to just be sitting there, leaving it there and going, I'll leave it on the ground, no one will ever catch me. Oh my God, I better run! And then all of a sudden you get caught. I saw you littering. Come with me. Like, And that's what I'm going to do. Every day you see me, I will make sure no masks are on the ground, and simply just pick them up and throw them in the trash. Or what I can do is just simply, if they don't want to go to detention, then I can just simply have that student walk around with me, making sure no mask on the ground. We pick them up, put them in the bag, and then we put them in the trash. And this will teach you guys no littering. And if for those of you thinking that, is it against the law to litter? Yes, in your state it is. Schools don't even care about this law. Every school district that allows that student to litter, they violate the law. And if you live in this state, littering is against the law. You could be fined up to $500,000 for trash less than equal to 5 pounds or 5 gallons. So mass weighs in grams. As you've seen on those blue "Don't Mess with Texas" signs, if you repeat the offense, you can face fines of $2,000 and 180 days in jail. Littering and dumping are serious crimes in Texas, and violations may take at least both misdemeanor and felony levels. Most violations are provisions of the Texas Health and Safety Code and the TWC, which is the Texas Water Code. But I've checked, and you can purchase "Don't Mess with Texas" cloth face masks. And remember, that is legal litter in Texas. You're caught littering, facing a fine of $500. If the litter weighs more than 5 pounds, we're talking about a fine that increase of $2,000. So, if you don't want to pay this fine, do not litter. Do not litter. And if your child litters, I'm going to be coming after the parents who allow that child to litter on school campus. After that, I'm going to come after the school principal who allowed that to happen and say, I'll just leave it for the janitor to do, for just to pick it up. Doesn't matter. And those masks that you buy at the store, like those little blue with the wire things, those cost a lot of money. Those cost like $7. We've all have to step up and say, and country music legend George Strait, Matthew McConaughey, and country music star George Strait are tackling this litter problem. And remind you, this was an article from last year. The anti-littering series involves other Texas celebrities too. They include actress and activist Eva Longoria, Mark Cuban, Marissa Martin, Allie Brooke, and social media personality Brittany Blosky. PPE litter is dangerous for all animals too. When you're done with your mask, gloves, and wipes, do the right thing and dispose of them properly. This simple action helps keep Texas clean and safe. It's not that simple to just throw away trash. Not only we're protecting the earth, we are protecting the state. We're cleaning up the state, and we're also cleaning up our schools. So, again, do not litter. If you litter, I'm coming for you. And that's not a threat. I will come over there and lecture you about the law. Because let's face it, Flagler ISD already broke the law and the superintendent's not doing anything about it. I will go up to them and make them obey the law, otherwise I will report this to the city manager of Corpus Christi. COVID cases coming up. Let's move on to COVID right now. As we head into the month, No students from high school have been diagnosed. No staff from high school, no junior high student or staff has been diagnosed with COVID. No independent school district, no independent, no elementary, no primary student. One primary staff has been diagnosed on the 1st, while 0, 0, 0, 0 for the ECC, the staff, transportation, and the district. However, this has been reported. One student has been diagnosed with COVID. One independent student has been diagnosed with COVID. One primary student, and for the rest, 0. We are still good. We are still good, and we're still in stage 2. So we have to make sure to keep it up. We gotta make sure to just stay at number 2, and we can all get the vaccine and be healthy. As of here, 60,000 cases in Westchester County, 1,200 deaths, 4.8 million in the state of Texas, 66,000 deaths, while and on the average, it's like over 1,100 cases have been new, and almost 10,000 a 7-day average. Tests have been taken. The 7-day average, 1.2 tests have been taken, 117,000 positive, which is 9.2 over 10%. Vaccines. As of the 4th, 17.4 have had at least one dose, it's 59.8%, and fully vaccinated people are at 14.9, which is good. And since that time, since January, that number has been lowered, and it's been going up and up and up. I'd imagine if we reach 60%, we have to make sure everyone in the stands had at least one dose again and gotten that full dose, so we can all get the vaccine, go out and play and do whatever we like. But for those who are afraid of it, vaccines are like the cells fighting in your body, and well, I would get Brian Griffin to explain this, but copyright infringement, I would get demonetized for that. So I'm not going, but I am going to tell you these steps I've been running since a year and a half. That is making sure that you wear your masks at all times, and if you're vaccinated, you have the option to wear masks. If you're not vaccinated, then you're still under that mask mandate. And remember, these masks have to be like this, and if it's loose, go like this. And if it falls like the glasses, we'll get used to it. And the mask should not be down here, nor down here. It has to be at the bridge of the nose to cover your noses and your mouth. I know for schools, you guys, it's hard for you. So if your school district allows you to do that, then okay. Speaking of social distancing, also practice social distancing 6 feet or more, and make sure you always wash your hands and sanitize your hands every 20 minutes. I mean, not 20 minutes, 20 seconds, so that you kill the germs on your hands, so that no one can get sick. If your child's under 2, then they cannot wear a mask. If your child starts school and is not eligible for the vaccine, child under 12, they're not eligible for the vaccine. But if you have a medical condition, your child has a medical condition, you need to let them know beforehand. But if they provide you medical proof, then show them the medical proof. Like I said before, we have to make sure that we're doing what we're doing. We have to be safe. And by being safe, we're doing all the things that are We're doing all the things that we have to do. So, follow this advice, and we can get you, and you can get yourself vaccinated, and we can go out and do the things we love most. Again, if you don't want to do that, that's your choice. That's a choice you have to make as a child. For parents, if you don't want to do this, that's your choice. Okay, school lunch is in the news again, and this time it's not about the nasty food, it's about the budget. Schools are struggling to provide food for students, and one school district is going to Sam's Club to get beef tips. Supply chain issues, labor shortages have been impacting schools across the U.S. Teachers in Alabama are spending their own money to feed students. I think that's a good thing. Going down to Sam's and feeding the kids, that's good. 97% of concern about the supply chain distributions, and this is from the, and that number is from the School Nutrition Association. And this Facebook post read in part, before I feel dumb and go up to Creekland Landon, sent me this pic. Said this is the lunch they gave him. This is not acceptable. The only had lunch before him. They said he had nachos. One of them ran out regardless. We go up there to see what's going on with food, and that's one of the parents that when Palmy came forward. While on the other hand, the school meal programs are spending like $1.5 billion from the USDA. The government run from to help them out with the lunch. And so we have to make sure that we're spending our money on, we're keeping our kids healthy and making sure they go to the school lunch. Trying to make sure that they get the best lunch they can get. I'll be back in just a moment. Here's a lot of what we got for you this week. We talked about littering, we talked about a lot of things. I'll come up on Wednesday, we're going to talk, it's all about Domestic Violence Awareness Month. We're going to tell you how you can help in the coastal bend. Also, in October is National Bullying Prevention Month. Well, we're going to talk about bullying and what you can do to stop it. We talked about that on last season. We had a guest on here talking about this, so we might have him on again. Then on Friday, school bus chaos. It's all about the kids. It's all about the students yelling at the bus drivers, and it's all about school buses. We're just not talking about how they made. We're just going to be talking about the students, how they act up, and the students yelling at the bus drivers, so and so, showing you clips, and that for you on Friday. So that's what's going to be going on this week, and that's all for this issue of Give Me a Break Monday. I'll see you again with Give Me a Break Wednesday. We'll be talking about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, or DVAM. I'll see you Wednesday. Have a good night.